Welcome back to the Stream of Consciousness, everyone. I'm your host, Cyrus. This is a special I Told You So edition of the show. We're going to cover the story I covered 3 weeks ago about how Afghanistan was collapsing and that people were going to get trapped behind and that we didn't have a plan for getting them out. Apparently, you can get better news from a fucking cartoon on YouTube than you can from CNN or Fox or even the president himself, who was telling everything he's going to be fine. Let's go ahead and watch a little bit about it. Let's check it out. So this is a tough situation. We're pulling all the troops out of Afghanistan. We're leaving after 20 years. The Taliban is now taking over. Biden is defending it, saying the U.S. achieved its objectives. So what a change in fucking language. Just 3 weeks ago, he's saying that we've done more than enough to empower their police and military to secure the future of their people. Now he's saying we knew the thing was going to shit and there's no other choice but to do what we did. Just absolutely fucking failure of leadership. Just everything about it. There was no surprises here. We had plenty of lead time to do something about this. We didn't even take care of the Americans, let alone the Afghans who we've been fucking over. If you watch the rest of this piece, I go into the fact that there's this guy, what the fuck, let's just go ahead and fast forward a little bit. There was this dude right here. I start talking about how people are getting beheaded by the Taliban. People feel they're going to get hunted down. This is July 23rd, guys. This is a while back, all right? We had this interpreter here, this Abdul Rashid Sirza. We talked about they weren't going to bring this guy in because the crime of failing a polygraph. We talked about how polygraphs are fucking bullshit. You know, it's just I'm just sorry. I know you can sense the anger in my voice. I honestly am just so upset with this whole situation. Fucking unbelievable. Shame, stain on the United States. The excuse that they're trying to make right now, they're saying basically there's no other option. You know, it's like, oh, you wanted us out. We're out. Why are you complaining? You know? Kind of reminds me of like a building that everybody knows needs to be demolished. Everybody agrees it needs to be demolished. And then here comes Joe Biden. He fucking brings it down in the middle of the day while it's like full occupancy. And he just shrugs his shoulders and says, hey, you guys wanted the building to come down. It came down. What do you expect? Everybody knew the building was going to come down. We said it was going to come down a while back ago. And so we got to bring it down right now. Just an absolutely absurd excuse. Taking troops out before you take civilians when you know this is going to happen, it's like a borderline war crime as far as I'm concerned. We're going to be sending people back now to try to protect them. Just a total admission of failure in the plan. You know, how was it? 6 days between they were taking Kabul and when the president finally decides to address the American people to tell them that it's basically the fault of the Afghanis and Trump. You know, it's 25 minutes of whatever about Afghans fucked up this and Trump fucked up that. And at the very end, he says the buck stops with him. Oh my God. Just unbelievable. Anyway, let's go ahead. Since we were 3 weeks ahead 3 weeks ago, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward 3 weeks from today and tell you what's going to happen, which is the Taliban are going to start wholesale murdering people. They're not even going to do it the old-fashioned way. They're going to have to think of ways to just like mass murder that are more efficient. In the past, I've seen videos of these guys just lining up their enemies up against the banks of a river just so that they can shoot them in the back of the head and have their bodies fall into the water. Don't even have to go through the trouble of like burying them or removing them. Just send them down river. You know, this is how disgusting it's about to get. It's going to be wholesale rape, everything like that. Basically, all women 12-year-old and above are going to be given as sex slaves and wives to these Taliban fighters. All the men are going to be either enslaved or killed. That don't align with them or aren't necessary in some way. It's going to be really, really bad. You're going to start to hear horror stories that are going to make falling off the airplane sound like a good way to die. I know everybody's been seeing those clips of people trying to hang on to the airplane and falling to their death. Just unbelievable tragedy. Joe Biden assured us that we wouldn't be seeing that like a week earlier. You can find the clip everywhere. Basically being sarcastic and saying that you're not going to be seeing this type of Vietnam-style bailout where everybody's just like clinging to whatever aircraft they can. You know, we had months to prepare for this. We only took 2,000 people out, 2,000 Afghan cooperators. I looked into requirements of what counts as a cooperator. They're absurd. These people are being disqualified not just for polygraphs, but for all kinds of other bullshit reasons. They have to have 2 years of service with the United States before they're even considered, as if the Taliban cares. You know, you work with the United States at all, you're marked for death. They're not going to be like, oh, it was only 18 months? All right, you're good. You can go home. No. This Abdul guy, he's going to be lucky to survive if we don't do something about it. This shouldn't be a tribal thing. The whole country needs to understand how bad this is a fuck up. If it's not obvious how bad the media has been covering for the president on this issue, it should give you real pause at this point. How are you hearing about this just now when a fucking cartoon on YouTube was talking about it 3 weeks ago? Just a real problem here. This should have been the main story day after day after day, not this other fucking nonsense that they're making up. Wait till you find out what's happening at the border right now. Oh my God. We're on pace to have the worst year for catching undocumented immigrants, illegal aliens, whatever term you want to use, in history, okay? In history. We are going to surpass all recorded history. Media's not talking about that story either because it's going to hurt Joe Biden's feelings. You know, this isn't supposed to be a real political channel, but you cannot avoid it when someone is failing this miserably on so many fronts. The data is just overwhelmingly against him. I'll do a bit on the border later. You can see it for yourself. But it's just, if you get your news from TV and all the rest of these guys, you ain't hearing the full story. So we'll catch you next time, but it's not going to be pretty because I'm going to be reporting on mass murder. See you later.